Yo, welcome back to Not Another Gaming Podcast. It's your boy, Papa Dom. We are here. We're live. We're back. We haven't seen you since last year, and I know that you probably missed us. Nobody said that to me in the office today, and so I needed to say it to you guys. Just get it out of my system. They're like, "Oh, I haven't seen you in a decade." Chris just said, "What did you say?" You were like, "I can't believe people still have their Christmas lights up."
Oh, yeah, people are putting their Christmas lights up so early this year. Can't believe it. We're still like 358 days away from Christmas. And people already have their lights up. It's fucking bananas.
358. That is... Yeah, you're probably right.
That's pretty spot on.
Yeah, you're probably right. And yeah, so yeah, as always, you already heard his voice, my first co-host. When he's not punching desks or chuffing darts, he's always keeping us up to date on all the esports and gaming news that you care about and probably some that you don't. My man Chris P, what's happening?
What's up, man? Happy New Year 2020. Woo woo!
Yay, woo! Gunshot.
Happy New Year's, man. Dude, yeah. But I'm doing good. Glad to be back for the first episode of 2020.
First episode of the decade. First episode of the decade.
Gotta start off strong. I'm excited. Gonna be a great year. But it's your boy Crispy, the tallest and the lankiest.
Yeah. Speaking of starting off strong, we can't start off strong without him. My other co-host, you might find him on Tuesdays, streaming right here on Booze Days with Dr. Bob, or you can catch him predicting major industry moves before the movers even think of making them. Dr. Bob, what's up?
Wow, what a fucking electric introduction right there. Catch me fucking making industry moves before the industry even knows about them. It's so fucking true.
Look at his head growing. You can like see it through the camera.
Hold on, let me adjust my fucking headset.
Yeah, you might have to.
My giant fucking head now. I mean, I love it. Yeah, I'm doing good. You know, had the longest day at work I've had in months, which hear me out on this before you guys call me miserable. I'm grateful for.
Okay.
Okay?
That's what we're doing. All 2020, all gratefulness, gratitude.
It's been months since I had a nightmare day like today.
Mm-hmm.
And if we go back a year ago,
mm-hmm.
that was every fucking day. It was every fucking day was a nightmare day.
There you go.
So
sunshine wouldn't be so good if it wasn't for rain.
Yeah, Curtis Jackson said that one.
That's absolutely poet laureate.
So I'll take the little W's here.
Yeah. Absolutely. Speaking of things that start with W, let's get into a little weekend recap.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
These segues? We're like 3 for 3 on fire segues this decade, so I'm feeling the juices flowing. Chris, how was your New Year?
My New Year was great. Bounced in and out of a couple parties for New Year's Eve. Started off in the North End, ended up in the homeland, back home for a little bit. Nice little house party. Felt good. Went to an Italian restaurant for dinner. Heat, absolute heat. Very happy with that.
What'd you have?
And then bounced. I got chicken salt and boca. Fire.
Yeah.
And then I got
good
pick. Not bad. And then I got a couple of their like signature drinks. It was like a Moscow Mule, but had a little like raspberry in it. It was good. But once you think the whole night's looking up, you thought it was a great time. Drank just a little bit too much, maybe. The ball dropped. I'm like, all right, like it's a couple hours go by. I'm like, all right, it's almost 3 a.m. I gotta go home. I'm walking outside, Uber's there. And I was like, shit, like I didn't answer my sister's text saying Happy New Year. So I'm walking down the steps. It's a big flight of steps. It's a big flight of steps. I'm texting on the way down. And before you know it, I missed like the last 5 steps and I was just on the concrete.
Oh, man.
And I busted my knee open. I have like cuts on my like side of my wrist, on my elbows. I felt like a little kid again, just eating shit off the steps. And then drunk me forgot that it happened. So I went to bed when I got back, and I have white comforter and white sheets.
Ooh,
so yeah, it looked like I fucking killed someone.
Oh
If that happened to me, I would have fucking threw out a hip.
Dude, I had to wash it like 15, like no exaggeration. I washed it 4 times in a row to get everything out.
I can picture like Bob falling down the stairs like Mr. Potato Head in Toy Story when it's like all the parts just fall off.
Dude, I broke my ankle one time. Dom, you've come in through my garage before.
Yeah.
You know, like the 2 steps it takes to get up to the door
Perilous.
through my garage. I came home shit-faced one night from a party. There's this girl that we grew up with. Her name was Courtney. She used to throw huge fucking parties called Courtney Palooza 1, 2, and 3. And I think it was Courtney Palooza 2. I came home trashed. And I go into my garage to get a water bottle. I was like, you know what, dude? I'm going to fucking hydrate myself before I go to bed. I'm going to slam 2 water bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot the steps existed.
Oh my god.
Just went straight down, ankle popped.
Oh.
You could hear the fucking pop down the street. Mikey was texting me like, "Are you okay, dude? I just felt the ground shake. I heard something pop."
Earthquake, I'm under my computer desk right now.
And I couldn't put pressure on it. So I had to sit on my ass after I got the water bottles, and I had to scoot my way to my kitchen to get ice packs.
Dude,
And I had to scoot my way into my back room, and I slept on the couch.
Wow.
You really hate to see that.
Unbelievable. Maddie name dropped Bagstock too. Shout out to Bagstock. I miss Bagstock. One time for Bagstock.
Oh, I went once. I went to one Bagstock.
Oh yeah, Kenny, good to see you. Miss you too, buddy. Jesus, we lost Kenny under the covers like a remote.
He turned sideways.
Kenny, for those of you who don't remember him, he used to be our intern until he was on his way back to college one year. His girlfriend left the window open, and he flew out the window like a piece of paper.
A fucking used receipt just kicking out from the passenger seat.
Dunkin' Donuts napkin.
It's all fun and games until you lock your door and Kenny sticks under.
He goes, and that's my cue later. She opened the glove compartment and he flew out of the window like a Dunkin' Donuts napkin. Oh, shit.
But yeah, my New Year's Eve was great. Bob, how was your New Year's?
Oh, shit. It was good. I mean, I've kept it super low-key for the past couple of years. The last time I actually went out for New Year's Eve was when I came home for Christmas break when I was living in Chicago. And we went to my buddy Sock's house in Somerville. He's real. He exists.
I met him.
Socks.
We met him at the after party one year.
Yes. We went to his house in Somerville, and like him and his friends play instruments, but they never really play together. So what they did, this was 4 years ago at this point. So what they did was they had all their instruments in the basement, and we went downstairs and they played the same 2 songs over and over again, but just progressively louder as the night went on. It was fucking wild. We were trashed.
Sounds like hell.
No,
Wonderwall and I don't know, just like the first like 10 notes to Stairway to Heaven.
I cannot recall that night, but since then it's been super low key. This New Year's Eve, I grabbed a bottle of wine and some White Claws. Went to the girlfriend's house. I slammed the entire bottle of wine. She had her own rosé because she doesn't like red. Apparently.
What kind of red did you get?
Now I fucking know. I don't remember.
Bob's like, yeah, let me get a bottle of the red.
Yeah, I'll have whatever. Yeah, here's this red like cleaning solution.
Yeah, no. It's called the Stag. It's my go-to red wine.
Was it like a Cabernet or something?
I think so. But it's so fucking good. And I drank the whole bottle. We ordered food, and the second I finished eating, I fucking passed out. I made it to 12:15.
So no free ads, but here's a free ad, and you can send this to them. 19 Crimes is the best red out.
19 Crimes is also very good.
What's
the other one? The 5 Horses or something like that?
5 Moons or 7 Moons? 7 Moons
There's
is one.
Horse one.
There's a horse. Yeah. I know what they're all like the red blends. 19 Crimes is dope. The Banished is the one that I like because it's like aged in bourbon barrels, so it's like has like a little tartness to it, and like it's really good. And if you have like they have like an augmented reality app that you can point at there's like mugshots on every label, and then they come to life and like tell you their story. It's awesome. So yeah, if 19 Crimes, if you're looking for a video game podcast to sponsor, I know my wife would be very happy if we got a sponsorship for 19 Crimes, and I would be too. I like 19 Crimes with a little steak. You might make a little, I might make a little. We might do a little like veal salt and boca or something, and little 19
Chris,
Crimes.
Have you played anything?
I've been playing Call of Duty. I've played a little of the Outer Worlds. I just got a Switch today. So I'm lining up a couple games to play. I don't have many right now. I just been playing Super Mario Party because it's all I have for it right now. But Jimmy has Luigi's Mansion. I think he has Mario Odyssey, and I forget what other game, but he has a couple, but he's just not home, and he has them with him. So I'm just not playing those. My next pickup is probably going to be, I have to play Breath of the Wild because I've only watched people play it, and I haven't played it myself. But there's a bunch that I want to play. But no, I haven't been playing that much, but I plan on it.
This is like the first week I can safely say I haven't played any Counter-Strike. It's crazy. First week in months where I haven't played any Counter-Strike at all. But I purchased The Witcher immediately after finishing the Netflix series 2 weeks ago, and I've been playing the shit out of that. I'm probably like 30 hours in at this point, and I'm still only on the second area and like level 9. The game is fucking enormous, and the reason why I can't play open world games like this is because there's too much shit to do, and every time I go by any question mark on a map, I need to stop and figure out what it is. And
yeah,
it's
I mean, it's not a
fucking
bad
killing.
thing.
But,
Why do you think you burnt out from Counter Strike? Just like toxic people, or
No, it's like everybody I was playing with beforehand. Nobody really wants to play anymore. Nobody wants to like set aside time, and like I don't necessarily want to set aside time unless other people want to play.
yeah?
So
makes sense.
if I'm not going in with a squad of like 2 other people, it's really not worth it anymore. I was doing the Face It solo grind for a while, and I was leveling up and I was winning, but it's like, it's fucking exhausting sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But The Witcher, incredible. Fucking, I understand why people consider this their game of the decade too. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things.
And then I have recently been also playing Link's Awakening on my Switch, and that game is also incredible. So
It might be a pickup.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is really good. I can back that. You guys want to hear how my New Year's was? If not, that's fine. Like,
No,
what's the first topic?
Dom's weekend is
that's
ahead,
correct.
Dominic.
So started off the New Year's flow. We went over to a friend's apartment. Had a couple of shots, a little glass of wine. Just got a little lubed up before the night began. Went to a nice dinner with the wife and some friends. A couple steaks, couple espresso martinis. Couple old fashions. The old fashions, they were really good. I'm a big old fashioned guy, so. And then we just went back to a friend's apartment, and they have a nice roof deck that you can see the harbor fireworks from. So that was really nice. It was cool to like do the countdown on the roof and then see the fireworks from there. So really happy about that. New Year's was good. Got home real hungover the next day. Did not do well. My wife tells me that we had a great conversation with the Uber driver, which I do not recall. She was like, "Oh, that Uber driver loved us last night. Do you remember that guy? He was hilarious." And I was like, I couldn't tell you a syllable of what we talked about. So yeah, but short-term memory loss, it's just common, and as you get older. Aside from that, what I've been playing, Rob, just mute yourself because you're just not going to want to hear this.
Wait, like my headset or my microphone?
Mute your headset. So I dusted off my 3DS for the first time in probably... We cleaned out the office, as you can see. It doesn't look like a crate and barrel storeroom behind me anymore. And while cleaning out the office, I realized, wow, I haven't plugged in my 3DS in maybe a year, maybe 2 years
Same.
tops. So I threw it on the charger and I let it go. I let it charge. It's still up there right now. Dusted it off, cleaned it off. I popped in Star Fox 64 3DS, which is a fantastic and very faithful remake. And then I realized that I had one game that was digitally downloaded on my 3DS, and I don't remember the last time I played that. Popped it in, Animal Crossing New Leaf for the Nintendo 3DS, and I just figured, I might as well get it fixed. We're about 2 months and 28 days from Animal Crossing New Horizons for Nintendo Switch, Game of the Year 2020. Emphasis on game. And I was like, I could use a little fix. I gotta get the tree shaking muscles all warmed up, right? Sure. So I hop on, and turns out I have not logged into Animal Crossing New Leaf for the Nintendo 3DS for 6 years. So I probably played it for about a year, maybe a year and change. But after the first year that it was released, I didn't play it a whole lot. Other stuff probably came out. Maybe life got in the way. Who the fuck knows? But literally, I got the most hostile interactions from my neighbors who were like, "This town is in shambles. You're the guy who left here to find himself." There were villagers who like moved away, and then there was other ones who came in and they were like, "Oh, I moved here 2 years ago, but you were never here to meet me. So people just thought that you ran away and never came back or something like that." It was horrifying. But I picked like 45 weeds. I started, picking some fruit, planting some fruit, getting after it.
Earn your spot back.
Earned my spot back, and they were like, "Wow, just so great to have you back." Crush some cockroaches, and you know what? I'm back in the good graces. The approval rating is going up from Mayor Dom of Picata. My town's name is Picata in Animal Crossing, so I got to think of what to name
a Ginzo.
I know. I forgot that I named it Picata. When I turned it on, it was like, it's 10:57 a.m. in Picata, and I was like, oh, that's an adorable town name. Picata. So, Guineas of Animal Crossing, the 2020 calendar.
I can't remember the last time I played my 3DS.
I actually was just like going through the stack of games there, and you mentioned A Link Between Worlds, and I have that too. What I would like to do is finish Paper Mario on 3DS because I never did that, and Paper Mario is awesome.
I took it with me when I flew to Austin, Texas to visit my friend Melissa, and that was when I tried to play Animal Crossing, and that's when I realized I did this for you guys. Okay, I did it for you guys, and I did it for my girlfriend, and it does nothing for me. I can't do it.
No, you did it for yourself. You want to like it. I know you do. I see it in your eyes. You're like Squidward when you act like you didn't like Krabby Patties.
Okay, so how about this? I don't play video games that I don't think could be interesting. Like, I don't go into a game. Why would I waste my time playing something if I don't think it's going to be worth it?
You should just come over and play Animal Crossing when it comes out, because it's local 4-player co-op for the first time in the series.
No, it didn't sell me. The last one didn't sell me. Together. But I still didn't beat Pokemon Sun, and I never beat the Majora's Mask remaster. But
I never even got it.
Whatever.
I never got it.
Oh,
I got that. I mean, I've played the Ocarina of Time one a bajillion times, but the Majora's Mask one I know is
it's really good.
Good.
But again, I beat that game 100 fucking times on N64.
Right.
So,
all right, let's talk about something else. So we have been, we talked about a lot of, actually, since we'll start it this way, since we have been talking a lot about games that we used to play and dusting off games of decades past, I would love to just kick this off with games that we're most looking forward to in 2020. I'm not intending on keeping the Animal Crossing shtick rolling, because you already know that we're anticipating that. But I would love to just kind of like send it around the horn and hear it from you guys. There's a ton of stuff coming out this year. Some of which is like coming at the end of the year and we don't know anything about, like Halo Infinite. Or, we've gotten a nice little trickle of information and we still don't know the whole picture, kind of like Cyberpunk. And then there's plenty more. And we got new consoles on the way. So what do you guys think?
Well, you just said 2 of the 3 that I had on here, so it kind of makes things a little boring for me. But Cyberpunk's definitely up there. That's a game that a lot of people have been waiting on for a while. I think they dropped the first hint of that game in 2013. It's been a long time in development for this thing. I am definitely. Wait, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, if you want to spice things up a little bit, you could also tell me what you think the biggest bust of 2020 is going to be. Because there's a lot of big-name games coming out.
You'll have to come back to me on that one. But one thing I think is going to be awesome. So we don't really know a lot about Halo Infinite, right? But what we do know is 343 Industries, they said that there's going to be a big emphasis on exploration. And if what we see is true graphic-wise for the Series X, it's going to be absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see that. And then I know, like I was saying in the recap too, I got a Switch today. And I know I'm going to love Breath of the Wild, so I'm looking forward to Breath of the Wild 2 already. I'm just going to say it there. I know I'm going to love the game just because I've watched people play. Like, I watched you play a little bit, Dom, and then I watched my cousin play it. And it's a super, super good-looking game. And I know people have played it through a dozen times. And I'm excited to actually be able to talk about it and just say, instead of saying, oh, yeah, it's a great game.
Yeah.
But those are definitely my top 3. If you circle back after, I can tell you what's going to bust in 2020. I just want to fact check myself on what I'm going to say.
All right, word. Bob, what do you think?
So immediately, the Monster Hunter World Iceborne DLC comes out in 7 days.
Ooh.
So, or for PC rather, it already came out on console. The PC releases come out way like 6 months after the console ones, but like that's a game I put 200 maybe 300 hours into, and I am anxiously awaiting for this DLC to drop because I miss playing that game. They dropped a bunch of content for it, but like this is a full expansion, and I think it goes for like $30. So I'm for sure gonna get that. Let's see what else.
Neo 2 is coming out in 2020.
Yeah, and I was gonna say Neo 2 is looking. So I got 85% of the way through Neo, and then I came across the most difficult boss in the game, and I was under leveled for it. So the only way I could fucking beat him is to go back and just grind through it, and I didn't want to fucking do that, so I stopped playing it. But incredible game. It's arguably one of the best Soulsborne games. It's probably the best Soulsborne game outside of From Software games. I'd put it up there with Bloodborne, Dark Souls 1 and 3. And then I heard great things about Code Vein too, so that's another one I want to check out. But Doom Eternal is coming out.
Oh yeah.
I played through
2016?
Yeah. I bought it a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
I streamed some of my playthrough. I was pretty drunk when I was streaming it, but like I came home at like 11 and I was already kind of drunk and I just kept drinking and I kept streaming just through the playthrough. But I just burned right through that in like 8 hours, I think. But that is like the perfect shut your brain off, press W key and just play through a game.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to think about anything, you just have to kill everything in your path. So Doom Eternal is going to be awesome, Neo 2 is going to be awesome. Cyberpunk is definitely going to be super interesting just because I'm playing The Witcher now and The Witcher is fucking incredible. Resident Evil 3 is coming out in April. I think the biggest bust of next year is going to be Marvel's Avengers. I've said it 100 times at this point.
Yeah.
It's just another fucking shared world, semi-shared world looter fucking action game.
I think it's going to be like Too Little Too Late.
Yeah, if they were going to release this game, they should have done it 3 years ago. What else? There's so much more too.
You know that so of course we're not getting a new skate game, but you know what else is coming out in 2020?
Session.
That and Skate Bird.
I saw Skate. Yeah.
It's actually kind of cool looking. I'm not gonna lie, but fuck Angry Birds, you know.
Right.
Fuck it.
Ghost of Tsushima is supposed to be coming out. The Last of Us 2.
Oh yeah,
The Last of Us 2.
I gotta buy a PlayStation now.
What else? There's so much. Oh, Elden Ring is rumored to be coming out next year.
Ooh,
I
forgot about that.
There's no definitive.
There's literally nothing for it.
Right. Well, yeah, because they showed a fucking teaser for a 55-second teaser at what E3.
Sekiro's developers may release Elden Ring as early as June 2020.
Yeah, that's the From Software George R.R. Martin combination.
What about Resident Evil, Bob? Resident Evil 3?
I said Resident Evil 3. Yeah, Gods and Monsters is supposed to be really good. It's supposed to be a Zelda Breath of the Wild clone. I think it's by Ubisoft too. Rainbow Six Quarantine. I'm just going through a list right now.
I was gonna say, yeah. Now we're just reading every game that's coming out in 2020.
No, there's so many more. I'm just looking at the good ones. But Rainbow Six Quarantine is going to be the Siege engine, like everything they used for Siege, but like a 3-player survival horror game.
Really?
Yeah.
Watch Dogs.
Oh, and there's one more. Ghostwire Tokyo. Ghostwire Tokyo. There's so little known about it, but people are saying that it's supposed to be like a supernatural Resident Evil game. Ooh. And that looks super fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I saw some concept art from it. There was no teaser on it, right? Or did I make that?
No,
or is there?
There was a teaser video, but there was like no in-game footage or engine footage. So
for me, I'm going to start with the bus just because it's at the front of my mind. So there's a lot of like big name, like nostalgia reboots. Not even reboots, but like sequels, reboots. There's a lot of big name nostalgia successors that are coming. First of which is like, we don't know if it's definitely coming in 2020, but if it does, I'm sure, I'm sure folks would be happy, is Beyond Good and Evil 2. I feel like we've got more and more info on that. There's no definitive release date. It's rumored for 2020. It would make sense if it released in 2020. But then again, it could still be even further away than that. But Beyond Good and Evil 2, Psychonauts 2, Oddworld, Soulstorm, and then System Shock, which are all of these are like pretty storied franchises. Even System Shock, where like BioShock is the spiritual successor to it. But all 4 of those I feel like are really big, like cult favorite series with like a series. All of those are. I'm surprised that my phone hasn't gone off. All of those 4 are really big cult classic favorites, and I have a feeling that at least one of them, is going to be a huge bust. That is my.
I think it fully depends on how they market them.
Yeah, I completely agree. And by bust, I mean like one of them is gonna not even just like a sales bust, but like I think one of them is just gonna be like fundamentally not complete. And it's going to come down to like the developer not getting enough funding, or they wanted to push the product out and it wasn't done. I would hope that all 4 of them are like cared for enough, because they're so like storied and beloved. I would hope that they're all cared for enough that wouldn't happen, but I have a bad feeling that something poor is going to happen to one of the 4 of those. I know that's a little broad, but it's too much. There's too much like nostalgia in 1 year, and so one of them is going to get like swept under the rug, for better or for worse. And then, I mean, Chris already said it, but the Breath of the Wild sequel, which is supposed to be coming in 2020, really, really excited for that. I mean, I have more than 100 hours in the first Breath of the Wild, and it's basically the best open world game I've ever played. Really, really cannot wait to play more of that, and I'm sure that just like aesthetically, just seeing what new areas and environments they come up with is probably going to be my favorite part about it. I think one of the big surprises for me, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I didn't play Ori and the Blind Forest, but I'm well familiar with it. But I saw the gameplay for Will of the Wisps, and it looks so beautiful that I need to play it. Like, watching that game in motion was like poetry. It's beautiful, and I can't wait to play it. I'm really, really excited.
You have Game Pass, right?
I do. I think Ori and the Blind Forest is on there.
Yeah, because I brought my Xbox to my girlfriend's house, and she got Game Pass, and we just went through all of the fucking games on it. Mm-hmm. Dude, Game Pass is a fucking steal.
Oh, yeah, it really is. It's the best deal in gaming.
Oh my god. Okay. All right, Xbox, you're doing something right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And there's good shit on it too. Like when I first signed up for it, I was like, all right, there's gonna be like 1 or 2 good games. No, there's actually a bunch of them.
Yeah. Maddie mentioned Dragon Ball Kakarot, and I am not fully familiar with what type of game that is. Is it a story thing, or is it like Budokai?
Yeah. So it's a semi-open world Dragon Ball game, like action adventure RPG, kind of RPG-ish, but it follows the whole Goku arc of his.
Oh.
Where he fights. What's it called? He fights the not the Saiyans. I can't remember who they are. But then it goes all the way from beginning to the Majin Buu series.
Oh.
And it's not open world, but it's like 7 or 8 giant sandboxes that you get to explore.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Relive the story of Goku beyond the epic battles. Oh, yeah, all right. Well, this needs to be dope.
So you start by fighting Raditz. Like, that's the first level.
Oh.
And then you go all the way up to Buu. But, like, it looks... It fucking kills me because I just want a good anime game to come out, and I had high hopes for Jump Force, and Jump Force just didn't perform. Apparently, it just was a underwhelming anime fighting game.
Yeah,
but like this looks good, but I agree with Matty D. There's definitely
there's bust potential there. There's bust potential. Am I wrong in thinking that there hasn't been a bad Dragon Ball Z game in a while, or did I miss one? Because I thought that the Fighter Z was like supposed to be really good, and it's like it has a pretty decent like esports following too, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that game, that's probably the biggest Dragon Ball Z release that they've ever had. At least I think so. The most successful, at least.
Yeah.
But like they're doing something so different right now, where it's basically like. It's 7 or 8 sandboxes.
Yeah.
So it's semi-open world, and I don't. It's just completely different than everything else.
That works for me. I would love to relive that shit.
Right, it looks interesting, but yeah, there's definitely bust potential.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say there's definitely bust potential, but I feel like if they do it right, it could be an incredible game. And like with what they're basing it off of and kind of the story that they're putting behind it, it kind of has to be a banger. Because in my opinion, it's either gonna be sick or it's gonna suck. If it falls anything short of being like incredible, I think it's gonna a lot of people are gonna shit talk it.
Probably, yeah.
It'd be cool if they added a little bit more like context, like between the episodes too. Like it seems like they have the big set pieces, but then, they go on these like training montages that last for like, whatever amount of time that passes between episodes, maybe 2 seasons. So maybe like stuff like that. Like, hey, where was this character during this thing? Because I think
they emphasize that though.
Yeah.
They emphasize that like there are going to be. You can train in between like the main set pieces, but there's also interactions with characters that are going on in between everything. So continuity wise, say if Goku never spoke to one character in the show, you could essentially go visit that character somewhere and figure out what's going on with them in between.
I like that. All right. I didn't even know that I like knew it was coming, but I wasn't sure what it was. I always just kind of figured that they're all fighting games in some way or the other. So, but yeah, and then also for me, like just to cap that off, Halo Infinite. We have so little information on Infinite that I just don't know what to make of it. All we know is that the game is following Halo 5 sometime after Halo 5's conclusion. And 343 just announced that they were starting some flighting programs to start playtesting Infinite. They have an internal pro team, so they're monitoring like the way they build out multiplayer and like the esports kind of programs like from the ground up, which is awesome. It's great to know that that's like something that's in consideration, like in the development. I mean, multiplayer made Halo what it was, and Halo made Xbox what it was. So I think they owe it to them to like make sure that they launch with a fucking banger of a game. And I think I've said it on the show before that anything less than like one of like a series defining title is going to be a bust. I've definitely said that on the show before regarding Halo Infinite, that anything less than like a fucking banger is going to be a huge letdown. So really, really hoping for the best. It seems like they've got all of the right bases and priorities covered in order. So I guess we'll see what's going on with that. But I think they've recouped a little good faith from some of the community, especially with the Master Chief Collection and Reach being pretty popular. So Shroud was playing Reach for a long time, for a couple of weeks after it launched, and he only stopped. And he had said it before too. Shroud was like, "Halo Reach is so much fun, but one of my favorite people to play with stopped playing, so I have to just wait for them to get back into it."
That's sad.
Which is really sad. Yeah, he was like, "I want to keep playing it,
that's
but I
Counter-Strike."
Yeah, he was like, "I want to keep playing it, but my favorite person to play with stopped playing, so I guess I'm gonna have to wait until they come back to it."
My favorite 2 people stopped playing Counter-Strike.
Aw. Who's the other one aside from Chris?
Well, it was never me.
Chris was never involved in that conversation.
Well, yeah. So that's what we got. Chris,
How
are you?
I'm doing great, man.
Bob, how you doing?
Nope, not Bob. Bob, stay out of this.
All right, see you later.
It was an odd moment.
So I know I mentioned this to you guys, and for me, like I'm really not great at translating tech specs or tech speak. But we did get some new PS5 and Xbox Series X hardware specs. I'm not sure if you guys have taken a look at them, but people are like shitting their pants over these tech specs. People are like, "Oh my god, it's got a teraflop of this and 90 GPUs," and I'm literally like, I feel like my own. You know how, like, if you go to your grandparents' house and you switch it from HDMI 1 to HDMI 2, and they act like they act like you just assembled the TV from a box of scraps in front of them? That's how I feel when I read this shit. I'm like, what is actually going on? Lauren just figured out how to use like the Kinect on the Xbox to say Xbox watch HBO, and she's like over the moon. So that's where we're at tech wise. But
look, it's not easy because like tech as a whole, hardware, right? It's always evolving to a point where it's like there's new series of things and like better iterations of different parts, and like it's tough to keep up with it sometimes. It really is.
Yeah, like if you give me a pop quiz on like what's a teraflop, I would is that a unit of speed? Is it something else? Is it like RAM, or is it like, I don't know.
It's like a floppy disk. They're back now.
Terafloppy disk.
Yeah, telefloppy disk. But yeah, people are going crazy about it. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the most well-versed when it comes to hardware within console, but I know enough to look through these and realize that these are pretty fucking powerful. So kind of we'll start with the outside, right?
Yep.
So the PS5 looks like a fucking vacuum, and the Xbox looks like a mini fridge. But like, so the Xbox is confirmed how it looks, right? The PS5, it's only the dev kit that people got their eyes on, so they don't really know. But if they stay with this, it's a very ugly system. I'll just put it at that. Both of the consoles as a whole have a high focus on cooling. If you look at the model of the PS5, there's a lot of cooling on it, as well as the Xbox, which I want to say abbreviates to Xbox Sex, because it's the Series X. So nice. Bob, can I get a nice?
Nice.
Thank you, Dom.
Nice.
Hell yeah. But yeah, so it abbreviates to that. That's quite different. I kind of like the Xbox design, not gonna lie. It reminds me of the Mac Pro. I think it's like the 2013 when they started doing it, where it looked like a little trash can. Yeah. It looked like a little trash can. When I worked at the Apple Store, people used to walk by with crumpled up paper and put it in. I was like, it's not a trash can. It's like a couple $1,000 computer. So kind of a breakdown on the confirmed parts within the consoles. So there's an AMD 3rd gen Ryzen CPU, which is a beast. AMD Navi RDNA GPU. And when you said teraflops, Tom, 1 or 2, no. These both have 10 to 12 teraflops. And I also want to point out that the specs are exactly the same for the PS5 in the Anaconda version of the Xbox Series X.
Anaconda don't.
Yeah, that one too.
So is the teraflop? I feel like a fucking moron even saying this. So is the teraflop the unit of measurement for how fast it is? Like, instead of being like a 3.2 gigahertz processor as a teraflop, like, is that the same? Is it like, how fast is this console in terms of processing speed? Or is it like graphics speed or something? Like, what is that? Do we know what that pertains to? These are the questions that I don't know. I don't know this
and it's completely fine. It's completely fine not to know, because, to be 100% honest with you, I'm not necessarily sure what it is. Things like, I literally have looked this up. Like, what is it? This was a while ago. What is a teraflop? And there's people on these pretty well-known websites writing articles like explaining what a teraflop is, because the world doesn't know.
A computing speed, a unit of computing speed.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Because I mean, yeah. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So yeah, they're going to be pretty fast, but the PS5 and the Anaconda version of the new Xbox, they have the same exact specs. After that, you have your real-time ray tracing. Woo.
And you guys explained ray tracing to me like a couple weeks ago, but I already forgot.
Can you send me, first of all, this link that you're looking at? Because I'm looking at completely different links.
Well, no, I have like a sheet that I have.
These like just dropped a couple days ago. These like new ones that leaked.
So ray tracing has to do with the way the game engine utilizes light. So there's only a handful of games right now that allow ray tracing in their game. So it's like the most recent Tomb Raider game. Essentially, it computes every single light source inside of the game, and then through an algorithm determines how that light is going to reflect off of which surface in real time.
Right. So it makes it like more realistic when the light moves. Right.
So if you're like, I think the most recent Battlefield also has it. So if you're aiming down sight, like you're behind a rock and you're next to a lake, if like a gunshot goes off to your right and light emits from the barrel of the gun, you'll see it in the reflection of the water.
Oh.
So there's shit like that, and it's in real time based around the character location and the interaction with light off of every surface based around where the character is. And again, there's only a handful of games currently that allow you to do this, and those are only PC right now. And with that, you need a minimum, I think it's a 1660 graphics card, 1660, 1670, I don't know if there's a 1680, but if you overclock those, you could turn ray station on or ray searching on. What the
Ray tracing.
ray tracing?
Ray searching.
No, well, ray search is.
I need to ray search these fucking tech specs. Is what I need.
That's
to
what I do when I show up to the beach. I'm just ray searching.
Ray search is a company that I work for in my current job.
Oh shit! People know where you work now. That's fucking crazy.
Completely different. Ray tracing. So you need a 1660, 1670 to overclock, or you need a 2070 or a 2080 or above to activate ray tracing. So you, at minimum, you need $400 worth of GPU to start.
It's a lot. I don't even think it's that important. That's the thing. Like, it depends what you're really going for. I mean, if you really want the full experience, I guess like it's nice to have. But I mean, something else that is completely unnecessary that is being rumored right now: the PS5 controller is going to have a screen on it, like right in the middle where like the old pad was. There's going to be like a little screen there. They could read messages and like apps and stuff, which definitely uncalled for. The way I see, so like historically speaking, right? PlayStation, all the PlayStations, in exception to like the Xbox One X, the PlayStations have been more powerful. And the only way I see them doing that with kind of this new generation of console is if they have a more powerful computer with a cheaper price to it, kind of a smaller entry level to get into. But it's going to be very difficult with them because Xbox is coming out with a different version too. They're coming out with several
versions.
So this one's called Lockhart, and it's not even close to the Anaconda. But I mean, entry level wise, you want to call it like Anaconda, like $500, call it. So entry level on Lockhart would be $350, which to get a new generation Xbox, it's a pretty good deal. It's a pretty good deal.
So So what's going to happen is PlayStation is going to release one console. Xbox is going to release what, 3?
Yeah, I think they're doing different levels of.
And I genuinely think the PlayStation 5 will only be more powerful than the most inexpensive series of Xbox.
Yeah, I think the base model, if it's $350, it will not be as powerful as the PlayStation 5. And I think the next 2 tiers above that will be consistent, like considerably more powerful. Yeah.
So I don't know. When you have to think of it this way. Microsoft is a company that builds computers. That originated from PC.
Yeah.
You know, they come from PC. Sony did not. So I don't know. I will always consider an Xbox to be more powerful, especially after what they did with the Xbox One X. Granted, none of this matters when you have a PC.
No, but it's kind of crazy to see what consoles are doing. I mean,
right?
When they had the what the hell was the name of that game? Was it like Hellblade or something like that they showed at the Game Awards? And it was like watching a fucking movie. It was the craziest thing in the world. So to see where graphics have like where we're at with graphics compared to where we used to be.
Yeah.
These consoles are wild. You have 4K at 60 frames, you have 4K at 120 frames, and there's even 8K at 30 now. Granted, 30 frames, but you're not playing 8K first-person shooters like multiplayer. You're trying to get like your full experience of like a great landscape and stuff, and that's sick. 8K.
All right. Yeah. So what I think is going to happen, I think graphically, both consoles are going to be on par with each other. I think they both have 4K accessibility. I think the higher tier models will have 8K accessibility. When it comes to the CPU and the actual like grinding of the games, I think the upper tier for the Xbox consoles will be considerably better than the PlayStation. Granted, I think they're all going to be fine, but I think once you get like the 400 to 750 version of the Xbox Series X, I think though you'll be getting more consistent over 60 frames per second, you know, if they uncap.
Yeah, that's a shitty part too, the capped frames.
If they keep it capped at 60 frames, it's like, what the fuck is the point of getting a new console if you're going to cap it at 60 frames? Yeah. But when it comes to memory, it looks like both consoles have pretty consistent memory, and that basically... So when it comes to using a solid state drive for these consoles, it basically just means the time it takes for you to go from like launcher to in-game is shortened to nearly nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you have an SSD in your console, like PlayStation, Xbox will, load times will be reduced.
Yep.
And like going just straight from the main Xbox menu will bring you right into the game.
That's
Instead
crazy.
of, like, so that's like, if they both have that, I get it. Like, it makes sense why people would want a new console.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm basically down for whatever. I mean, I'm just gonna. I said this to John before, Johnny Root Beer, friend of the program, friend of real life. That like I'm pretty much just gonna buy whatever the ideal experience to play Halo Infinite is on, and
Yeah.
PC.
I don't know if I like don't want a PC though. I kind of do want a PC, but
I'll say it every fucking time. I don't know how many times we've already said this.
I'm also not good at shooters with keyboard and mouse. I'm the reverse of other people.
We are what, maybe one more console generation before Sony and Microsoft are just like, all right, we're just making PCs now. Now we're just making, here's a smaller tower for a PC connected to your TV.
Yeah.
That's all
I
it's
mean,
going to be.
Dom, you're never big into like PC games as a whole. I mean, you play on Mac.
World of Warcraft,
you play WoW. I mean, to me, that sounds like an incredible segue to talk about something.
It sure does, Chris, and thank you so much for the alley-oop on that one. So, you know me. Big been a big Mac guy for a little while. And it's because I don't play PC games, so people are like, hey, you play video games on a video game podcast on a Mac? Yes, I do, because I got an employee discount on it one time, and that shit was fat. And also, this computer has lasted me like 8 years at this point, and it's still ticking. So it's not that old. It's like 5, 6, 7, maybe 6 or 7. Anyway, so some rumors came out, and it's like death, taxes, and Apple not keeping secrets really well is like the three things that are inevitable in life. So when you say rumors, it's like inevitabilities that Apple is making a huge push into gaming officially, and actually has been looking into getting involved with esports as well. And now the latter doesn't have there aren't like a whole lot of connections or like threads to pull to kind of bring Apple closer to esports, unless it was just kind of like in a media capacity. I don't know, like, hey, live stream this on Apple TV Plus or something like that. I don't see where those lines connect. However, I would say that it does make sense for Apple to move fully into gaming. Apple Arcade, from what I understand, has been doing really well. I feel like I'm hearing about a new cool Apple Arcade game every other day, and it's always by like a developer I've never heard of, or it's a game that like I've never seen advertised. So it's awesome to see that platform being used especially for indies or for lesser known games. So it's not just like junkware mobile games or anything like that. It seems like they're legitimately really fun experiences. So that's something I still intend on trying out. Apple a few years ago, they had the Metal API like framework that they released for Mac, and then they later ported it to iPad and iPhone, so that developers could have a better, just like a better framework to work with when developing games. There's been tons of games ported to Mac. There's a big gaming store on the App Store. So I've got a handful of them, and, Apple has been making these strides. The Steam acquisition years and years ago was a big deal. They've been making strides to make more games available. But all they've done, like, the only thing they basically have not done is say, we want to be taken seriously as a gaming company by releasing, a legit contender of a piece of hardware. So now the rumors are swirling that they are actually launching a gaming focused Mac. They didn't say, the rumors that I was reading didn't say MacBook or iMac or whatever. Maybe it's a whole line. Maybe they're like revamping their Pro series to have a better set of graphics cards so they can actually be a little bit more competitive. But the problem is that the rumor is that they're launching at like a $5,000 price tag. So that's an insane amount of money. And if you get like a fully spec'd out iMac, I'm pretty sure that's what that's going to run you right now anyway. Granted, every single time somebody says like, oh, the new iPhone's coming and it's going to be $3,000, but it's not. So overreactions on prices to Apple devices has happened all the time. Granted, they do come at a premium. You know, I'm not going to have a conversation about that right now, but one way or the other, it seems like by hook or by crook, Apple is looking to jump both feet first into the actual gaming market. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's about time. I'm surprised that it's taken so long for them to actually throw their hat in the ring for esports. I mean, esports is a giant business, right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that. So it's inevitable that they were going to get involved. And like you said, Apple Arcade has had great success. But like that was their start into it. As for people blowing things out of proportion for Apple, that's also inevitable.
Yeah.
That's always going to happen. Like you said, oh, the iPhone, a couple $1,000s. It turns out to be like the cheapest phone they ever came out with. So a lot of people blow that out of proportion, but those people are also the first ones to buy those Apple products. But I will say, if this computer is even close to a $5,000 price tag, it is the most disrespectful ask for a price of all time. You can get a computer that you can stream on, play games on all high settings. If you want to ball out, you can spend fucking $1,300, $1,500. You don't have to spend $5 fucking grand, Apple.
Dude, I promise you, pending whatever they release for specs for that $5,000 rig that they want to release, I promise you could match that with a Windows PC at a price point of like $2,400.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be, you're gonna get a fucking RTX 2080 Ti, and then you're gonna get i9 9000K for a processor. You're gonna get the best that you can get on the market right now, and you still will barely get to halfway with it.
Yeah, and 100% that's the case. So I mean, I get people that support Apple. I used to call it drinking the juice, like people that are going to support them whatever they do, and I get that. I mean, I'm a sucker for their phones, and like I don't see myself ever having a different phone. So like the people that are going to be willing to drop $5 grand for an Apple gaming computer, you're a psychopath. First of all,
point. There's no fucking
not
point.
for nothing too. Developers aren't even developing for Mac, really.
No.
Like,
Well, they are more recently now.
Yeah, I mean,
they are more recently now.
Yeah,
I think
but
what
still,
Apple's
like,
been trying to do is make it easier for that to like make it so they're not like building a whole nother version of their game from the ground up, and that they're more friendly to like PC based games.
Yeah, and that would be nice. I mean, what I was thinking is this whole time when a developer is making a game, they're kind of hyper focused on making the best PC version of it, best Windows version. Yeah, best Windows version of it. Not a lot of them are thinking of Mac or even wasting their time with Mac. So that that list of games, that backlog of games, doesn't exist yet for Mac, which is another hill that they're going to have to get over. If those games aren't ready to be kind of ported over to a Mac, if it's too far off and they're already making their money from PC, they're like, we're not going to develop this fucking 10-year-old game again for Mac. Like, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, going forward, they know that they can develop for Mac. I get that, but you're just going to miss out on like all of this.
Is Apple Arcade strictly for mobile?
No, you can get it on. I believe you can get it on. All right, we're good, right? We're still live. All right, cool.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we lagged out for a second. That's fucking weird. Wow, that's never happened before. Okay, where was I? Yeah, so I mean, Slasher said this before. He actually like grew up gaming on a Mac and played Quake and Doom and StarCraft on a Mac for the majority of his life, and he always was basically hoping that Apple would like come around and finally like take that step, like I was saying, like take that step and really give like even a fraction of the attention to video games that like his friends who had PCs had, but that day just never came, and they just never ended up really caring. So I really do hope that Apple Arcade continues to grow, whether that involves it like moving to Windows or whatever. I mean, who the fuck knows? But you know, I hope that they, whatever this happens, however this happens, as somebody who's got plenty of Apple devices in their house, I mean, $5,000 is a ridiculously steep price tag, and I don't think anybody I know is going to pay that unless they have employee discounts. Nobody I know is going to pay for that, and I really do hope that they make it a little bit more accessible, because that's going to be big, because you don't want to just like price out the people who have been waiting this long for you to finally embrace gaming. So
it wouldn't matter
we'll see what
anyway.
happens.
The people that would be interested in it would just, I would hope, would know better to just save 55% of that and build their own PC.
Yeah.
But what I like, they could do what every other fucking AAA company does and make a launcher for Windows. Make you have to sign in through an Apple login on a Windows product. So they're still getting they're still getting like the traffic their way. But if you open it up, because there's a bottleneck there where it's like, okay, I'm interested in these games, I'm interested in what they have to offer, but I'm not going to buy a fucking Apple product at a premium price like that to play these games. And I'm also not going to play it on mobile. So if you want to open that up and let more of an audience in, there has to be some compromise there.
Yeah. We will see. We will see. All right, cool. Why don't we wrap this up with a little Land the Train. So we've covered a lot of bases. We talked about some new hardware, talked about some potentially rumored new hardware, games we're looking forward to, games that might be busts. But it is now that time to shout out some good people, hopefully some good people. First shout out to the decade. Dr. Bob, what do you got?
I don't know. Well, we released a little video on Twitter thanking everybody who's been dealing with us for the past almost 4 years now. Well, 3.5 years, 3 years at this point. Well, 4 with the website, so 3 with the podcast. So yeah, thanks for everybody who's been trudging along with us. Been fucking grind for a little bit. Hopefully this shit pays off.
I mean, hey, hopefully. I wanted to do a quick shout out. I gotta find the tweet again. Give me just a second here.
You want me to waste some time?
Dude, say it. Do yours, and I'll find it.
The best time to wear a striped
No, give me some fucking shout out, you goon.
Oh,
is all the time.
One with the collar. Turn on my shout out. So I have no one, and that's because no one left us a 5-star review on iTunes. So if you want to be shouted out on Not Another Gaming Podcast, the #1 gaming podcast on the internet, I mean, I'm rolling out the red carpet for you. All you have to do is just leave a 5-star review, and literally, if it doesn't get us TOS'd, we will. I will personally read it out loud. So make it funny, make it serious. Just don't get us banned. 5-star review, iTunes, and you'll get your shout out. Dom, take us home, King.
Okay,
wait. That, and I also picked up Chris's previous responsibility of the YouTube page. So if you subscribe to us on YouTube, I will shout you out.
Yeah, that too. I checked that beforehand. There was no one on there.
Okay, I did too.
So hold on one second. I'm gonna put this on here. So I put out a tweet the other day that one person responded to. And I said, give me your best feel-good gaming story of the decade. I think Chris might have read it. This was at like 1 o'clock on New Year's Eve. Give me your best feel-good gaming story of the decade, because I really wanted to read them on the next episode of the podcast. I got one whole response, and it was not. I'm just gonna read it. I'm actually just gonna read it. Hold on. Let me put on a song. One sec. Hold on. Okay. At chef_Borzy on Twitter with his best feel-good gaming story of the decade. Apex Legends. My squad was the first ones dead right after dropping hot. I played it out. 19 teams left. Got a few squad wipes and got the win completely solo. And my ex watched the entire thing. She will never witness a better video game play, period, ever, period.
Oh, it was unreal.
Great. That's great, Borzy. You're great.
So,
comes along.
So I responded to him and I was like, this was not exactly what I was looking for when I said feel good gaming story. But it's the best thing that anybody's ever tweeted at me. So there you go. There's my first shout out of the decade, Borzy. It's for you. I sure feel better after hearing that.
Me too.
And I'm
I
sure
love
everybody
it.
else did too. So that was, there you go. There goes my hero. Well, great. This has been episode 161 of Not Another Gaming Podcast. First episode of the decade. We're so excited to be kicking it off. We're going to get some new guests, maybe some new segments, maybe some new segues. Maybe we'll buy some segways, some like gold-plated segways, you know what I mean? PAX East right around the corner. Going to get some new interviews. Can't wait for that. And as always, if you haven't already, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Overcast, and now Radio.com and iHeartRadio. I have verified both, and we are definitely on there. And if you don't have us on your favorite podcast app and you have to go to another one just to listen to us, let us know so we can fix that. We want to cover all the bases, and we want to make sure that we're available everywhere your ears are. So make sure that you help us help you. Also, if you feel as though you're particularly charitable and you have Amazon Prime and your significant other does not, we're going to switch it around for 2020. Give your significant other Amazon Prime if they don't already have it so that they can subscribe to us, or gift them a sub on twitch.tv/wickedgoodgaming. 2020 is all about positivity, philanthropy, motivational speeches, and getting solo wins in Apex Legends while your ex watches. So we love you all. We will see you next week for episode 162. Have yourself a great weekend.